on this site. Good morning and welcome to the 8th day of yoga. I'm excited for today. We're going to do one of my most favorite poses. I usually have heard this pose named as Mermaid, but apparently it has a Sanskrit name, Hamsasana, which means the swan pose, which is perfect for 7 swans a swimming um, in the 12 days of yoga series. So let's begin by sitting well and roll your thigh bones in. And as you roll your thigh bones forward, tap into this feeling or this sensation of water, a little bit of flowing downward sensation. We'll be thinking about water today as we're focusing on swans and swimming. And water element is fluid, it's receptive, it's accommodating. And we want to be that too in many ways. So we get the thighs to roll in, we get this sort of flow down and forward, and then balance that out by lengthening your tailbone and get a little bit of lift from the low belly. Rise up through your side ribs. Take the heads of your arm bones back and glide your head back. Line up your palate over your pelvis and gently close your eyes. And observe the flow of your breath. As you begin to breathe the Ujjayi pranayama, maybe that brings up an image or the remembrance of the sound of the ocean waves. Begin to follow your breath in and out. And feel how the breath has this fluid quality. It's also soft, gentle, accommodating, nourishing. Water is very nourishing as well. And then think of a beautiful swan, how it seems to float you. So bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take a full deep breath in. And let's chant an Om. Om. Bow your head. And then slowly release your hands and open your eyes. All right, and let's come to table pose to begin. Actually, let's begin standing up today. So come on up. Let's get our shoulders working. All right, so stand comfortably in mountain pose. Set your feet about hip distance apart. And with that feeling of flow and water element, roll your thighs in and press your sitting bones back. They're going to widen a bit in the back. Your pelvis will broaden. And then gently draw your tailbone in and down. Lift up, take a breath, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. And as you exhale, release your shoulders down and then make a circle. So a nice, gentle, easy, graceful shoulder roll. It almost feels effortless. You don't have to work so hard. And you get this nice sensation of stretch in the upper back. Release any tension you might be feeling in your neck and shoulders. And then bring your hands together in front of your heart. Now flowing with the breath, inhale, reach your arms out to your sides and up. You can keep your hands shoulders distance apart or palms together if that's comfortable. And with your exhalation, release your arms back down. And pretend that your arms are moving through water. So water can create a bit of resistance, gives you something to press out against and reach down with. And that resistance makes us stronger, right? Think of resistance training. You use resistance to build strength. Good. Next time you exhale, bring your arms down to your sides and then take your right arm up Bend your elbow and bring your hand to your upper back or the back of your neck. And then with your free hand, hold on to that elbow. Pull it gently back and in towards the side of your head. And feel the stretch here in the triceps. And you might feel some stretch in your upper back. And then notice if your rib cage starts to poke forward, with that feeling of flow, soften the ribs back and then glide your throat back. And you'll feel that increases the stretch in your shoulder. All right, release down. And then second side, take your left arm up, bring your hand to the back of your neck or your upper back, and then pull your elbow back and in towards the side of your head. Take a breath, ribs in, throat back, chin parallel to the floor as best as you can. And from your pelvis now, root down into your feet and lengthen up from the core of your pelvis up to the top of your head. Exhale, release, and bring your arms back down to your sides. All right, come up to the front of your mat, please. Stand in Tadasana, mountain pose. Firm your legs, roll your thighs in with the quality of water, and then gently lengthen your tailbone down. Inhale, reach up through the side ribs, heads of arm bones back, and then exhale and soften. Inhale, sweep your arms out to your sides and up over your head. And with your exhalation, flow forward. As your chest comes forward, your inner thighs will press back. Take a breath in, look up. And with your exhalation, round and fold. You can have your knees slightly bent here. Inhale, lift your heart. Exhale, draw your belly towards your thighs. One more time. Inhale, lift. And now with your exhalation, bend your knees. Take your hands beside your feet. Step your right leg back and bring your knee down to the floor. Shift your hips forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Firm your legs. So here's where we take a little bit of action, right? Engage your legs. Roll your thighs in. Move your sitting bones back and apart. And then draw the tailbone under. Then you can take your hands even farther forward. Maybe bring one forearm down and then the other. You could also put your forearms on a block. And from your pelvis, root down into your feet and your knees. And then extend from the pelvis out to the crown of your head. So your spine lengthens. Your legs are active. You're hugging in. There's a lot of activity going on here. We're not just collapsing on the floor. So we're keeping that active engagement, and then it appears as if you're resting gracefully. Take a breath, and then walk your hands back in, come up. Keep your left foot in front. We'll do a little twist to the left. Bring your left hand to your thigh. Turn your belly and chest to the side. Shoulders back, and then reach your left arm up. And then make a circle with your left arm. Take it down, around in front, over your ear, and all the way around. Get that feeling of flow. Good. Place your left hand down. And let's step back to downward dog. Place your hands. Lift your hips up. Take your left foot back. Press one heel to the floor and then the other a few times. Flowing movement. Be aware of your breath. Keep your breath flowing gently. The breath is one way that you participate with grace. The breath comes in and supports you, and then you send your breath back out into the world. All right, bend both of your knees to the mat. Step your right foot up and bring your hands, both hands inside of the right foot. Firm your legs. Scissor your front foot and your back knee towards each other. Press your thigh bones back and then scoop your tail, and you can hinge forward a little more, like shift your hips forward, walk your hands forward, bring your forearms down to come into this deep hip stretch. And if your knee goes out to the side, hug it in. So we stay engaged. So, beneath the surface, there's a lot going on. Come up onto a block with your forearms if it's too intense. So under the surface, a lot is happening. Those duck feet are swimming, but then the upper body can extend gracefully forward. Inhale, come back up. Bring your right hand to your right thigh and gently twist your torso around to the right. Lengthen your sides, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, and stretch your right arm up to the ceiling. Spread your fingers, shine out from the core of your pelvis into your legs and feet, and then start this circle with your arm. Reach your arm down back behind you, and then stretch it over your ear, kind of like a side angle pose, and then circle it all around. A few times. Good. Place your hand down. Step back again to downward facing dog pose. Walk your feet in place. And come into steadiness in the center. Hug in. Engage your arms. Engage your legs. Exhale, come forward, shoulders over your wrists. Lower your hips halfway down to plank. And then knees down. Come all the way down onto your stomach. And prop yourself up on your forearms. For Sphinx, roll your thighs in, press your palms down into the floor, stretch back from your pelvis into your feet, and then pull your heart forward. Try not to collapse the shoulders, so lift up and squeeze your shoulder blades gently towards each other behind your heart. And then release down. You can bring your chin or your forehead onto your hands, make a pillow with your arms. And we'll do a few leg lifts to warm up the low back a little bit more. Inhale, lift your right leg straight up behind you. Roll your thigh in a bit so that the inner thigh lifts. And then exhale, place it down. And then inhale, left leg, lift from the inner thigh. And exhale, release. And continue. Alternate side to side a few times. Keep your breath flowing like water element. One more time to each side. And then come back up onto your forearms. Bend your right knee. Reach your right hand back, hold the inside of your foot, and pull your heel towards your hip. This is half frog pose. You can flip your hand over the top of the foot to lift your elbow up towards the sky and push your foot down. With your left forearm, you can keep it forward. If you need a little more steadiness, pull the arm across your mat and then push your foot down. If you want a little more back bend, come up onto your palm with your arm straight out in front of you. We're going for the stretch in the quadriceps on the right leg here. So that's what you want to feel. So if you're feeling plenty here, then just stay right there. And then release right foot. Okay, left side, bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand, pull your heel down towards your hip. Now, in this pose, you can try to broaden your sitting bones, get that flow in the pelvis, a little more lumbar curve, and then draw your tailbone towards your feet to lengthen the curve. Get a little more integration there. Push your foot down towards your hip, maybe come up onto your palm, shoulders back, reach your heart gracefully forward. even though there's a lot going on under the surface here, this is kind of intense in the legs, right? So, and then lower down, release down. Ah, okay. Hands beside your chest. Inhale, cobra, lift your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Take your hips up high. Now extend from your heart, push down into your hands, into the palms of your hands, the roots of your fingers, and your finger pads. And then from the heart, extend upward, lift your sitting bones up towards the sky, draw your low back in a little bit more, and then draw your tailbone in, reach your heels and the base of your shins back and down. Take a breath. Good, and then exhale, bring your knees to the floor and consider sitting on your heels. All right, this is Vajrasana, the thunderbolt pose. If this is too intense on your feet or your ankles or your quads or knees, then please choose another seated posture. We'll play a bit with Gomukhasana arms. This is a great prep before we get into our swan, and you may wish to have a strap for this. So I'll show you how to use your strap for Gomukhasana. We'll start by hanging your strap over your left shoulder. Just let it hang there. And then take the right arm out to the side, and we'll do an internal rotation. So turn your thumb down. Sometimes when you roll the arm into this inner rotation, the shoulder comes quite a bit forward. So turn the thumb down, lift up through the side rib, and try to move the whole arm bone back. So you clear away from the collarbone. Then bend your elbow, bring your hand behind you, and hold the strap. Turn here. So you're holding the strap, and you're going to bring your hand up as high as you can up on the strap. Then lift the free arm up and hold your strap. And now this is like the top arm in our warm-up. So you want to hug your elbow in and pull it back. And then you can walk your hands along the strap towards each other. And if you extend your index fingers out, they might touch one hand to the other. And if they don't worry, that's why the strap is there. And if they do, then you know that you can maybe do this pose without using the strap next time. All right, flow the front ribs down. Lift your chin, lift the upper chest up, and root down from your pelvis into your feet, and rise up from the pelvis to the crown of your head. Breathe deeply. Keep the flowing breath moving in to nourish your body. And then exhale, release your arms. Ooh, roll your shoulders around a few times. That can be pretty intense. All right, let's try the other side. So just bring the belt over your right shoulder now. Left arm out, thumb down. Lift up through your side ribs. Take the heads of the arm bones back, and then bring your hand behind your back. Reach up, hold your belt. And for most people, this side is easier. Left arm behind your back. Take your right arm up, bend your elbow, and walk your hands in towards each other. Extend your index fingers. Maybe they touch. Maybe you can clasp and reach on. Maybe you can hold, all your fingers together. And then rib cage flows down. Invite the heart to rise up majestically, like a beautiful swan, even though this is the cow face pose. And breathe deeply. Breathe into the sensations. Breathe life force, prana, energy. Good. And then release your arms carefully. Do a few shoulder circles. And then place your belt off to the side or somewhere else. All right, so here's the arm position for Hamsasana. Take your hands and remember that game, Barrel of Monkeys? Yeah. And the monkeys, their hands hooked together like that. Okay, so that's one way we can use the hands for this pose. So let's just try just the arm part. Take one arm on top, other arm on the bottom, clasp your fingers together, and then bring your arm over your head or behind your head. And now press your head back into the top arm. And this is similar to the position for Mermaid or Hamsasana, Swan pose. All right, and then release. And then switch your clasp and bring your head under. And so the back of your head presses against your forearm. And you see it's a similar position to Gomukhasana. It's slightly different. This arm is in a different rotation. So in some ways it's even easier. All right, and then release. All right, so now we know we can do the clasp and bring your arm behind your head. All right, we got one more prep to do first, pigeon pose. So come to kneeling once again with your hands on the floor and bring your right knee to the outside of your right wrist. Walk your left leg back. Tuck your toes under. Take a deep breath and soften. And then engage your legs. So under the surface, lots of work. Hug in, pull your knees towards each other, roll your back thigh in, press your sitting bones back and widen them, and then root your tailbone down. We're going to add the quad stretch here. So bend your left knee up, point your toe, reach back with your left hand, and pull your heel towards your hip. Ooh, yeah. If you want to block under the right hand, that can be helpful here, or you can bring your hand up onto your thigh and pull in from your pelvis, expand out, reach the hips down towards the floor, lift your heart up, shoulders back. Good, release. Switch sides. You can pass through all fours position and then bring your left knee out in front of you. Roll the right thigh in, firm your legs, thighs back, tailbone in, come upright a little bit more, and then reach back for your right foot with your right hand. Pull your heel towards your hip, turn your chest forward, hand to your thigh or up on a block, and you root down from the pelvis and hips into the earth, but you lift your chest and heart and head up to the sky. Good, release. All right, let's take a downward facing dog pose here. Stretch everything out. And then we'll set up for our peak pose today, Hamsasana. And I'm going to turn around so I'm facing you. And bring your right knee forward again into pigeon prep. So for this version of pigeon prep, you can keep your foot in fairly close to your pelvis rather than trying to bring it way forward. That's more of the hip stretch variation. And you can have your foot flexed, or you can point your foot and try to get the top of the foot down on the floor. All right, here we go. Roll your thigh in. Press your thighs back, scoop your tail, bend the knee. Reach back with your left hand for your foot. Hold the inside edge of the foot. Now, bring your foot in and slide your toe into the crease of your elbow. Yeah. Then we go to our barrel of monkeys. So it might be helpful if you can't bring your hips all the way down to the floor, it could be helpful to wedge a blanket or block under your right hip. Hug in strongly. Take your right arm around, clasp your fingers, and then bring your arms over your head. And there's your Hamsasana. You can try to turn slightly forward. It's a big twist, so you won't really go all the way to the front. You anchor down from your pelvis into your legs, and then lift up with grace. Release your arms, and go to downward facing dog. Oh, yeah. Right? If that all is not happening for you, then go back to the pigeon variation, just holding on to your back foot. All right, second side, left leg in front, right leg back, thighs in, scoop your tail. Bend your right knee, hold your foot with your right hand, and then slide your top of your foot along your forearm until the big toe comes into the elbow crease. Root down, clasp your hands, take your head underneath, and try to look forward a bit. So keep your legs working, keep hugging in. Legs are working hard, but the upper body, it's graceful. It's trying to be graceful. Invite your sense of flow across the water like a beautiful swan. And then release. One more downward facing dog. And then exhale. Bring both knees to the mat. Take your knees wide. Big toes together. Sit back to child's pose. Forehead down either to the floor or rest your forehead on your arms. And feel all of the effort that these challenging postures require. And also feel grace in the flow of your breath. Good. And then come over onto your back. And pull your knees up into your chest. Gently rock from side to side. Give your hips and spine a little massage. And bring your feet down to the floor. Stretch your legs out, arms by your sides for Shavasana. And Shavasana is the ultimate in receiving grace, receiving the flow of nourishment, of energy, of prana. Relax all of your muscles and soften your breath and release down onto the floor. Maybe envision yourself floating across the surface of a smooth lake or pond, like a beautiful, graceful swan. And if you have more time to lie in Shavasana longer, please do. And then when you're ready to come up, just give yourself a gentle stretch. Bend your knees and roll to your side. And slowly make your way up to sit. Bring your hands together at heart center and bow your head. Tune in to the grace that's all around you, the beauty of life, even when there's a lot of effort going on underneath. There's also an ease and a simplicity to it all. We'll finish our practice this morning by chanting an Om together. Take a deep breath. Om. The light in my heart honors the light in your heart. Namaste. All right, thanks for playing along. I know today was pretty challenging, and perhaps tomorrow will be a tad bit easier. Tomorrow's 8 maids of milking, so see if you can guess what pose we'll do. All right, have a beautiful rest of your day. See you soon.